Giridvaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kṛṣṇa Balaram, Kṛṣṇa Balaram, Kṛṣṇa Balaram, Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram. Jai Gauda Nitai, Gauda Nitai, Gauda Nitai, Jaya Gauda Nitai. Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Thy Gau Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, text number 33, transcendental knowledge. Śreyān dravya-mayād yajñāj. Jñāna-yajñaḥ paran-tapa. Sarvaṁ karmākhilaṁ pārtha. Jñāne parisamāpyate. Śreyān dravya-mayād yajñāj. Jñāna-yajñaḥ param-tapa. Sarvam karmākhilaṁ pṛthā. Jñāne parisamāpyate. Śreyān dravya-mayād yajñāj. Jñāna-yajñaḥ param-tapa. Sarvam karmākhilaṁ pṛthā. Jñāne parisamāpyate. Śreyān dravya-mayād yajñāj. Jñāna-yajñaḥ param-tapa. Jñāna-yajñaḥ param-tapa. Sarvam karmākhilaṁ pārtha. Jñāne parisamāpyate. Jñāna-yajñaḥ param-tapa. Sarvam karmākhilaṁ pārtha. Jñāne parisamāpyate. Mataji's. Śreyān dravya-mayād yajñā param-tapa. Sarvam karmākhilaṁ pārtha. Jñāne parisamāpyate. Śreyān, greater. Dravya-mayād, of material possessions. Yajñāt, then the sacrifice. Jñāna-yajñaḥ, sacrifice in knowledge. Paran-tapa, O chastiser of the enemy. Sarvam, all. Karma, activities. Akhilam, in totality. Pṛthā, O son of Pṛthā. Jñāne, in knowledge. Parisamāpyate, yes, end. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pṛthā, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Please repeat. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pṛthā, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Purport. The purpose of all sacrifices is to arrive at the status of complete knowledge, then to gain release from material miseries, and ultimately to engage in loving transcendental service to the Supreme Lord, Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Nonetheless, there is a mystery about all these different activities of sacrifice, and one should know this mystery. Sacrifices sometimes take different forms according to the particular faith of the performer. When one's faith reaches the stage of transcendental knowledge, the performer of sacrifices should be considered more advanced than those who simply sacrifice material possessions without such knowledge. For without attainment of knowledge, sacrifices remain on the material platform and bestow no spiritual benefit. Real knowledge culminates in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, the highest stage of transcendental knowledge. Without the elevation of knowledge, sacrifices are simply material activities. When, however, they are elevated to the level of transcendental knowledge, all such activities enter onto the spiritual platform. Depending on differences in consciousness, sacrificial activities are sometimes called karma-kāṇḍa, fruitive activities, and sometimes jñāna-kāṇḍa, knowledge in the pursuit of truth. It is better when the end is knowledge. Om jñāna-timirandasya jnana shalakaya chakshurun militam jena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Shil Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, Bhagavad Gita is a great mystery because almost everyone in the world is on the bodily platform, not really identifying with the spiritual existence, and they're thinking that I took birth in this family, so these are my relatives, these are my kin, these are my people, you know. And I was born in this land of Europe, India, Africa, all over the world people are taking birth, but they're ready to fight for motherland, and they're thinking that this is my identity, these are my relatives, this is my place of birth, and the purpose of life is to accumulate as much as possible for the happiness of my family and for my nation. Nations fight with other nations so that they can have their space, their land. This is my land. Once we start identifying, thinking this belongs to me and that belongs to you, Prabhupada tells of just when the British rule was finishing, is the last little slap, they divided India and Pakistan. So when the division took place, 1947, someplace around there, and then he said in Calcutta for many days there was fighting because previously people of different cultures would live together, whether one's a Hindu, Muslim, or Christian or Jew, whatever, people would be allowed to practice their religious performances and different ceremonial, ritualistic performances were there. But somehow or other, when they were antagonized that, these are your friends and these are your enemies, then there was fighting, brutal fighting, and so many people were killed. So the municipality people the next day came and just kind of piled all the bodies together. No one could identify whether it's a Hindu or Muslim or what they were. They just threw the bodies together, whether they were burnt or buried or just thrown. So this is the condition of the material world. Everyone is looking for happiness. Everyone's looking for Kṛṣṇa, but they're thinking the real happiness is in my family relations, and being peaceful and comfortable in life. Arjuna, he was taking the role of bewilderment that somehow or other, Kṛṣṇa, why are you forcing me to engage in this vicious fight? This is a battle. And in the second chapter, Kṛṣṇa firmly established Najayate Mriyate Vakadachin Nayang Bhutva Bhavata Vanabuya Ajonitya Shashvato Yang Parano Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. The soul is eternal, ever existing, undying. It's not slain when the body is slain. It continues even after the body is finished, because the body is made of material elements like dead matter. We have a vehicle, a nice vehicle, but until you go inside, put the key on, and ignite the living entity, gives it life. I mean, you spend money on the tires, you polish the tires, you have a beautiful, Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce, a Jaguar, whatever, you're really identifying with it and really happy about your wheels. I just came on my bike, so I'm thinking, oh yeah, nice bike. But this is simply a vehicle. In the material body is our vehicle, it's a gift of Mother Nature. And the reason we receive this gift is because of our previous activities and our desires, karma daiva. Somehow, we're fortunate enough to take a human birth, because we see all the dogs and pigs and the cats and the monkeys, and not only here but all over the world, the various animals, they struggle. It's a struggle. Dog-eat-dog world. Animals, they prey on other animals, whether it's aquatics, whether it's mammals, and human beings also. They act like animals because they're thinking, let us dominate and we can become happy and enjoy if we have wealth and land and control. But everything in this world is temporary. So Kṛṣṇa, after explaining various points of renunciation and doing your duty, performing your duty for the pleasure of God, Arjuna felt bewildered. So many instructions about what to do and what not to do. And Kṛṣṇa here is saying that the renunciation of knowledge, with knowledge, is superior than just renouncing and thinking that this is my sacrifice. So Kṛṣṇa not only explained to Arjuna, but he kind of said this science of self-realization was spoken millions of years ago. 120 million years ago, Kṛṣṇa spoke this science to the sun god Vivasvan. We're thinking, oh my God, 120 million years ago, that's a long time ago. But Kṛṣṇa appears in every millennium for the purpose of reestablishing religious principles. And people who are of an atheistic nature may doubt, how can, whether God exists or doesn't exist, and they don't think that, well, who's providing the sunlight? Who's providing all the vegetative growth, all the fruits and flowers, and even the air and the fire, the ability for us to see and function, what to speak of the complex material body. How did it all come about? Mother Nature, there must be a brain behind it, because an artist, he may take a long time to paint a flower and the color and reflection. It's not as good as the real flower. So who's made that real flower? So Kṛṣṇa is explaining in the beginning, especially in this fourth chapter, that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. that again and again I appear to re-establish religious principles. And although it appears that Kṛṣṇa takes birth like an ordinary human being, in the history of Mahabharata, that Kṛṣṇa took birth from Vasudeva and Devaki and it was transferred to Gokul. And they make many stories and many translations of Bhagavad Gita are there, and persons who have some maybe educational background, some philosophy, they make a good business of writing a translation of a popular book with no real understanding of Kṛṣṇa or the purpose of Kṛṣṇa's descent. And Kṛṣṇa's indicating, tomorrow you'll be fortunate to have tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnananas tattvadarshana, that this knowledge of the science of the self and of the duty and the purpose of the living entity to engage his energy to awaken his spiritual understanding is being given in Bhagavad Gita. Kṛṣṇa produced all the demigods who are authorized representatives of the Lord, providing all the necessities for mankind. And so naturally, in other religions, and maybe some time back, there was worship of the sun god, the moon god, Indra for rain, even during Krishna's time. Nanda and all the cowherdsmen were preparing for a big yajña, sacrifice to please Indra, because by pleasing Indra, he provides rain. With the rain, then vegetative growth is there for the animals, grains for mankind. You cannot produce in the factory rice, dal, and apples, and peaches, and bananas, and fruits. They can't even make an egg. But the scientists are claiming, give us more and more money from the taxpayers. We'll fly to the moon. We'll bring back dust and rocks. Aren't you happy now? We brought back you some dust and rocks. Okay, you can go to the moon mission 10 times. Well, what have they accomplished? Or they're now the Mars mission. They want to explore the frontier of the universe. One little Sputnik flying up there, and they have no clue, no idea how everything's been created, how all the stars and planets are floating very systematically, and how the sunshine is providing energy for the whole universe and providing those ultraviolet rays which nourish the leaves and the plants and the growth and life in general, without which we would have no life. We'd be living in darkness, in complete darkness. So then we can speculate, well, maybe God is this, maybe he is the universe, he's this universal form, he's the effulgence of that bright sunshine. So God, he is the effulgence, so this is God. Or no, the Lord's in the heart. We can meditate like the yogi and Paramatma in the heart. But then, those who are receiving knowledge from the Absolute Truth, we're not jumping up trying to figure out what is the Absolute Truth by our philosophical education, or let me find somebody who's really smart, find some big professor, maybe he'll tell us. We have imperfect senses, we're illusion, we have a cheating propensity, isn't it? We have so many defects, it's not possible to speculate about the Absolute Truth. So Kṛṣṇa's teaching about the evang parampara praptang emang rajarshayo vidhu sakalenya nahata yoganashta paran-tapa. So this science of yoga is handed down to the kings, the rulers, the emperors, who are godly people, and they're guided by the Brahminical culture, by those who are learned, those who understand or have studied the Shastra. So the Lord was breathing. By his breathing, the Veda became available. Then Vyasadeva divided the Veda, Atharva Veda, into Rig, Sama, Atharva, Yajur Veda. And the Vedas are meant for different classes of people so they can actually perform sacrifice. They can hear from the Vedic knowledge, and cultivate this understanding that I am eternal, spirit, soul. Somehow Arjuna is asking Kṛṣṇa, okay, this is all good, but why sometimes I'm forced to act sinfully? You know, what is this force? And Kṛṣṇa explains very clearly that our pure love that we have for Kṛṣṇa in the spiritual world, we have a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord, as so many unlimited living entities do, as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, as a lover. These are all different exchanges which are very much prominent in this world too, because there's nothing like a mother's love, and young children in friendship, and even friendship may grow for so many years together. And then what to speak of that loving relationship that one experiences when they want to, somehow satisfy that urge. And what is that love? When that love comes in contact with the material world, it is converted into lust. And lust is in our senses, lust is in our mind, lust is in our intelligence. And so the body as a whole has senses, and the senses want to be gratified. So the mind is orchestrating, okay, the burfi is over there. You got to go over there and get that burfi. But that's transcendental. But in the material world, people are driven to go to, Burger King and steakhouse and eat oysters and lobsters, and it's just amazing how we have no concept of life or the brutality which is involved just for our own gratification of our tongue and senses. So many innocent animals are being slaughtered in the slaughterhouse, and even cooked alive. It's just very difficult for one who's pursuing spiritual life to understand that dvipada-pashu, the human beings who become like animals, not only killing the other creatures just for their own satisfaction, and those who are materially driven by lust, they have these slaughterhouses and they have all these businesses in order to slaughter the innocent animals and provide it for people's sense gratification. So someone's becoming a little more refined. Oh no, in the Vedas it said I should worship goddess Kali and make a animal sacrifice. In this way, the animal is sanctified. It's prashad, animal prashad, or bona fide, So there were many sacrifices being performed, and people said, well, it's under the guidance of the Vedas, so it's bona fide. So Lord Buddha had to appear. Lord Buddha is an incarnation of the Lord. And he said, I don't care for the Vedas, because to try to explain to a meat-eater or a person who is atheistic and only on the bodily platform, they don't accept God and the law of God in the Vedas, but they utilize the Vedas in a traditional way and slaughtering the animals. So in this way, the Ahimsa philosophy became very prominent, but at some point it got kicked out of India, ended up in all the Japan and all the different countries surrounding India. Then Shankaracharya came to establish again the Vedas and the Vedic literature, but still people were not inclined. If we're living in the material world, that means we've come here to be enjoyers, and we've separated from Kṛṣṇa and our mood of service to Kṛṣṇa. So we're teaching Jivera Swarupoi Kṛṣṇera Nitya Das. We're all eternal servants of Kṛṣṇa, and by taking instruction and guidance from the Vedas, taking instruction from the Guru, we can again awaken that loving propensity in the proper way, not for lust, greed, and simply trying to manipulate the material world for our own satisfaction, that we'll learn by our activities how to offer everything to Kṛṣṇa. Just like the sacrifice of cooking. Everyone's cooking, so we're conscientious that everything is done clean, cooking. This will be an offering to the Lord. And you put it nicely on the plate, you put it before the murti, or the deity of the Lord, and offer with love and prayers. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Jagadananda that you tell my mother that whenever she cooks for me and makes that offering, that I personally come and take it. I come and take that offering. So the Lord is personally accepting your offering of sacrifice, your offering of, this is out of love. Patrang pushpang palantoyang yome bhaktya prayachati. That if we offer a leaf, a fruit, flower, what to speak of your nice preparations, Kṛṣṇa, he accepts it, but only if one's a devotee. Kṛṣṇa's not hungry, but he reciprocates our love. Yeyatamang prapadyate tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. So in this world, when people try to enjoy in many different capacities, whether one is very, very wealthy or, big zemindar, owner of so many properties and lands and a king or whatever, this life is very temporary. It's a short lifestyle. And even there's danger at every step. We've heard yesterday one of our young drivers had an accident on the road, and he died. And he's got two small children and a wife, and so at any moment, this physical body can be taken. But this body is so valuable because we're given a brain with intelligence. We're given hands and feet and ability to perform activities. But without proper guidance, our activities will be nonsense activities. Will be activities of trying to exploit and, like I said, the survival of the fittest, that whoever is more powerful can conquer. You have Alexander the Great and Napoleon. He said, well, France is still here. Where's your Napoleon? And Alexander the Great comes from Macedonia. I'm thinking, oh, I come from Macedonia too, so maybe there's some, they're not great. The only great personalities are the devotees, like Ambarish Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj, Narada Muni, Hanuman, the devotees of the Lord, those who are glorifying Kṛṣṇa, those who are eager to hear about Kṛṣṇa. Look at Parikshit Maharaj, young, very handsome, very chivalrous and great emperor, very powerful, unlimited wealth, unlimited opportunity for any kind of enjoyment in this world. And immediately upon Kṛṣṇa's arrangement that he was cursed to die within 7 days, at least he had that heads up, you're dying in 7 days. Okay, at least I know I got to really get serious now. Okay, I'm not so serious, but now I got to get serious because now I got the death notice, so to speak. Sometimes, people find out, oh, you have stage 4 cancer. You got to just really. So at that time, Parikshit Maharaj, he went and now what is my duty? What should I do? And so many great sages were there, and somehow, by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa, miraculously, Shukadeva Goswami comes, and even though his father is there, Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, and even sages from the higher planets, so many great personalities are there because they know something special is going to take place. The emperor of the world, and then Shukadeva Goswami, so everyone's sitting quietly while Shukadeva Goswami glorifies Kṛṣṇa, is the source of all in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj is asking all the right questions, like Arjuna is asking so many questions of Kṛṣṇa. How am I to understand that you spoke this science? How does that work? Arjuna, we've existed in the past together. We exist now, we'll continue to exist in the future. Just like Kṛṣṇa with his eternal associates. He appears again and again in the material world. It's like a transcendental theater. And Kṛṣṇa, he's always in a happy mood. He's always very, very blissful. Arjuna's feeling pain, anxiety. He's crying. He's overwhelmed because of the bodily conception of life. So we become overwhelmed. We become, feeling frustrated sometimes due to the bodily concept. But Kṛṣṇa is very, very kind, and he's explaining that you were also present, but you have forgotten. So the jiva, the living entity, he's forced to take birth, and just like when you go to sleep, you wake up and oh yeah, I remember, who I am, and this is somehow. What if you woke up and you had no idea? Like people have amnesia; they may hit their head in a car accident or some other accident, and they forget who they are, who their family was, where they come from. So in one sense, we have amnesia. We've forgotten Kṛṣṇa. We've forgotten our eternal existence in the spiritual world, and we're working really hard in this material world. We're working super hard, and people are working so hard for what? You're just going to eat 3-4 chapatis, you're going to have a little bit of sabji, maybe a few sweets. And even if you have millions of dollars, you can only eat according to your capacity. And if you ask somebody, why you're working so hard? For my future generations, they can also be happy. And it's so shallow. This material life is just so unsatisfying, because ultimately, even though we have so many great scientists, so much medical research, and such super powerful brains, no one can figure out how to become deathless. They can figure out atomic bomb to kill people by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions, and they might be able to go to the moon and extract billions of dollars from the taxpayers who are working hard all day, and the government's taking their money so they can get some dust and rocks from the moon. But this is all the false propaganda of the so-called political and scientific leaders who don't believe in God. To understand that God has created the sun, the moon, and all the planets, and He's created everything, and that this life, there's a purpose behind it. And someone may feel, well, I have my religion, I was born Greek Orthodox, or Hindu, or Christian, or Muslim, or Jewish, and you can see what kind of the Jews and the Arabs are having such a difficult time now, fighting. It's all very, very, how you say, calculated, very difficult to understand how this Kali Yuga is progressing in a very quick way. We even have experience when we first came here in the 70s, and I even moved here in 93, just a few little bicycle rickshaws, peacocks everywhere, the parikram path was just very soft sand, and there was not all this insane commotion now with all these cell phones and selfies and video games. Children, even the children, grandma comes in, hey grandchildren, they will not acknowledge you. They're fixated on their games, killing people, And Kali Yuga is progressing very quickly. So Kali Yuga lasts 32,000 years, just like Dwapara Yuga is 800-something thousand years, and Treta Yuga is 1,200,000, and Satya Yuga is 1,800,000 years. Life durations were longer then. People would live a great length of time. In Sat Yuga, 100,000 years, and Treta Yuga, 10,000 years, Dwapara Yuga, up to 1,000 years. In the Kumbh Mela, if you go, now we're having a Prayagraj, a new big Kumbh Mela coming up. So they say there's sometimes yogis who are hundreds of years old and they look young, very, very young. But this, whether you last 50 years, 100 years, or 10,000 years, or 100,000 years, or a million years, ultimately, everyone from Brahma down to the lowest planet, they're forced to accept this repeated birth and death and suffering. So Arjuna is trying to understand, okay, while I'm living my life, then the chatur varnyang mayasrishtam guna karma vibhagasha. Like the body, without the head, what good are the hands? What good is the stomach? What good are the legs? You know, the hands are like the protectors, like the king, like the kshatriyas. The stomach, you're eating nutritious food, so it's providing energy for the whole body. So this is the Vaishyas. They're doing trade. They're taking care of the cows, agriculture, you know, producing all the necessities of mankind for sustenance. And the legs, they carry the whole operation. So these transcendental varnas, this brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, student life, everyone knows, in the earlier days they were very strict, they were very respectful of their teachers, they would hear from their teachers, they were shrutidar, there was nothing written. The guru would explain the purpose of spiritual life and the importance of the human form of life. And the brahmachari, because of his ability to retain and understand this knowledge, whether he became grihastha or continued as a brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi, ultimately, the purpose of our life, even though we may have family and children, and we've performed our duties, you know, our dharma, and we did charitable works, we attended the church, the temple, and performed our sacrifice by giving in charity and helping in an altruistic way. These sacrifices are okay, but the real sacrifice should be done with knowledge and understanding. And that knowledge is by hearing Bhagavad Gita and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Who's so fortunate as to get Bhagavad Gita as it is? Srila Prabhupada was asked by one lady in the beginning days when Prabhupada was in New York if he could recommend a Bhagavad Gita so that she could follow the yoga system. And Prabhupada said, yes, there are many, many translations, but none that he has seen are authentic in the sense that they lose the spirit of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is speaking, but they're saying, oh, it's not Kṛṣṇa that you have to surrender to, but the unborn in Kṛṣṇa. Not knowing that Kṛṣṇa, his body, and not that he has a spirit soul and that he has to leave the body, he has a transcendental body. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha. One who understands the transcendental birth of Kṛṣṇa and his transcendental activities. And how will we understand Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa's transcendental activities unless we hear from a self-realized soul? This is the Guru Parampara system. This is how knowledge is given, and the Vedic knowledge is given through the authority of the Guru Parampara. And the Guru is a representative of Kṛṣṇa. And the reason why Kṛṣṇa descends is to again give us the path. We're lost in the wilderness. So Kṛṣṇa said, no, come back on this path and follow this path. Then akama sarvo kamo va moksha kamo daradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purushang param. Even if you have all kinds of material desires, if you're desireless like the devotees, or you have mixed desire, just approach Kṛṣṇa. And this process of yajña, sacrifice, sanctifies our mind and senses and intelligence so that we can think clearly that how can I perform the sacrifice to the Lord with full knowledge. So what is that famous verse? Kṛṣṇa varnam tvisha Kṛṣṇam sango pangastra parshadam jagnai sankirtan prayar yajantihi sumedasaha. That says one who's intelligent, sumedasaha. He'll worship Kṛṣṇa in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. So one cannot be accepted as an incarnation of God unless he's described in the scriptures. And that description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. And one who hears from the Guru and worships Kṛṣṇa by this process of chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're cleaning the mind, we're cleaning the heart. And by chanting Krishna's name, even though we may not feel, immediately thinking that, oh, I'm so attracted to the holy name. If I had millions of tongues and millions of ears, I still would not be fully satisfied because it's so relishable. Krishna said himself that Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Nimata Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Memapi Durdaivam Idisham Hajani Nanuraga. That you've given these transcendental names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction. So we're taking this yajña, this Sankirtan yajña, and it becomes more and more relishable the more we apply it. Like jaundice, when you're sick, you have to take sugar candy, but it tastes very bitter. But we know that candy is sweet. So the holy name, Kṛṣṇa, he is sweet, extremely sweet. And in the process of hearing about Kṛṣṇa's activities in the association of devotees, discussing Kṛṣṇa, looking and seeing how we're not the body, we're not this form, my nationality and my identification with my tradition and religion and culture, my people, why you come to my country? Prabhupada said, if you go in the neighborhood, the dogs all bark, woof, woof. Why are you coming here? He says, like the immigration department. Everything belongs to God, isn't it? So we're all meant to utilize the property of the Lord, but it has to be organized for the purpose of sacrifice. So these next 10,000 years, beginning from when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, because Advaitacharya was feeling very, very sorry for the condition of the world. He saw so many different people have forgotten the true path of Dharma. It was all cheating, and people were not following according to the Shastras. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed the Goswamis, and he personally gave his Shikshastika prayers, but to set the rules and regulations in a very accelerated process of self-realization, because how much time we have in this life? 50, 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years, 100 max, isn't it? If people live in the 90s, oh, he's so old. And my mother's 92, 93 years old, I think. But we all get old very quickly. But the few years we have, whatever energy we have, just like Srila Prabhupada, he was tirelessly traveling, and no matter, he was traveling from India to Australia, to Fiji, to USA, to South America, and despite all that traveling, next morning he'd be up at midnight translating Srimad Bhagavatam. He gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is, gave us Kṛṣṇa book, 10th canto, the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the postgraduate study of the Goswamis, describing how by the Sankirtan process one can awaken his love for Kṛṣṇa. And not only that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the symptoms of a person who's highly advanced in devotional life, and the feeling of separation from Kṛṣṇa, and the ecstasy, hair standing on end, and just crying in a mood of the gopis and love for Kṛṣṇa. So everyone's looking for this love, for this experience of full satisfaction in a relationship. And you cannot find that kind of relationship in the material world unless Kṛṣṇa is in the center and we're looking somehow or other to please Kṛṣṇa and satisfy Kṛṣṇa. So this is just like an opportunity of a lifetime, many lifetimes, billions of lifetimes, to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada created a home that the whole world can live in, that we can rise early, we can put on the tilak, to like putting your armor on before a battle, isn't it? You want to put your armor on and get your sword and be ready for the battle. So we're bathing and we're marking the body with the names of the Lord for protection, and then we chant, we come and see the Lord, and we sing and dance and glorify the Guru for putting out this blazing fire of samsara, repeated birth and death that we're suffering in. The Guru is enlightening us, engaging us in deity worship, engaging us in dressing, cleaning, offering prasadam, associating with devotees. The opportunity not only to read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, but to give it to others who are struggling and suffering. So this is the real humanitarian work. This is the real, the highest humanitarian work, para upakara. And this is the duty of everyone, actually. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is stating that as a human being, one should awaken his God consciousness and spread it to others. So we're being ordered by Kṛṣṇa. And it says the one who gives this knowledge to others, he's very dear to me. Kṛṣṇa is very happy, very pleased. So Srila Prabhupada wanted us, just as he was doing, he was never tired of glorifying Kṛṣṇa, never tired of taking an opportunity to give others, or bring others to Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So we should strive for that. We should actually feel very fortunate that despite our attraction to enjoying this material world, we're pursuing the path for developing the higher taste. And the only way to develop the higher taste is to avoid bad association, whether people who are simply addicted to sense gratification and who are callous to life in general, who are the butchers, the animal eaters. We want to cultivate knowledge and understanding, mode of goodness, Shuddha-sattva, pure goodness, chant Kṛṣṇa's name, keep the association of devotees, and gradually all these desires for enjoying in the material world, separate from Kṛṣṇa, they'll be dissolved, they'll go away, and hopefully one day we'll awaken the desire to only hear about Kṛṣṇa, be with the devotees, and go back home, back to the spiritual kingdom. And so we have a few minutes. I'm hoping that we covered the subject matter a little bit. But our Arjuna, he's just now getting all this transcendental nectar from Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa's personally instructing him, and the Guru, he's speaking on behalf of Kṛṣṇa. He's also instructing his disciples. Bhagavad Gita as it is, ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So anyone have a question? Some concern or maybe a comment? Mother Chaitanya Rukmini, you're always helping me in she always translates when I try to speak in the Hindi class, or Telugu too. Huh? Really? Yeah. So she speaks many languages. Very good. He was just I got hopeful there. Yeah, but this is good. Now, even though we have half the audience in the Hindi class, that's okay. Prabhupada, sometimes devotees would say, "Oh, sorry, Prabhupada, not so many people showed up." You didn't see Narada Muni, you didn't see the demigods. They all came. Where Krishna is being glorified, it's always nectar. And we also have the modern technology, the video cameras catching it all, so people all around the world can hear whatever little glorification we can give about Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So, no one has any questions? We can end early, go see the deities or whatever. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.